One of the only realistic complaints I ever have about the Disney Plus Star Wars shows is that some of the episodes are too damn short, and that's the case of episode 3 of Star Wars Ahsoka. It's just too damn short. There's a lot of story elements going on here, and oh man, like this is definitely, I feel like, one of the episodes that could be defined as a throwback to the classic New Hope film, in the sense of what the Jedi are and their training and everything else. I don't want to spoil anything before the fold. So before we dive too deep, for those of you who might be new, I'm talking all the things about episode 3. So if you don't want things spoiled, make sure to go away, watch the episode first, come back. We'll discuss it because we are discussing the whole thing here. We're about to dive in. So if all that sounds good to you, stick around, like, subscribe, hit that bell icon if you're new. Here's your countdown: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, spoiler alert, this is your last warning. Let's go. So, I think one of the most, I don't want to say it's a necessary part of the story development, but I also felt it was the least interesting part of the episode for me, and the least interesting part about the season so far, which is this training session between Sabine and Ahsoka, where essentially we're replicating the whole, with the blast shield down, I can't see anything scene from A New Hope, where you have her talking about, let go of your feel, let go of that, just use your feelings, use the Force. It felt like I've seen this a bunch of times before, and I didn't necessarily need to see it again. If I had been directing this, I probably would have cut this scene and chose to focus on something else. That doesn't mean it's a bad scene, it's just a personal preference. Um, but I do get the sense that this is rehashed territory that we've seen before, and I didn't really necessarily feel that it did too much for the overall narrative of this show. I also think that it's very interesting to see the people coming out of the woodworks and talking about, well, this is what happened in Rebels, and this is the way that should be done. You're not the showrunner. That's not the way this works. Like I said, I can look at this scene and go, I wouldn't have done it that way, but I can't tell Filoni that you should have done it this way. I can say I would have done it differently, but I get why they have it in here. This is more for people who might not have ever watched Star Wars before, because we have a new generation of people who are coming into the fold who might never have seen A New Hope, which has been, I'm 43 years old. That was a long, that came out before I was born. So, I get it. Um, Overall, though, this is a great episode. I think I would give this one an 8 out of 10, as opposed to the first two were 10 out of 10s. This is definitely a slower episode, and shorter. But the primary thing here is Hera trying to get um, approval from the Senate to send a task force off to the same planet that Ahsoka and Sabine are on their way to investigate, which is the planet we saw from the first episode. I don't have my show notes my show notes from the first two episodes. I didn't take notes from this one because it was a shorter episode and I was just blazing through. What was the name of that planet that they were on? Um, the planet that they are on is called, I don't know, but it's where Balin and his apprentice are at right now. And they are there because of that druid ring, and they're building that giant spaceship hyperdrive ring. And that's essentially what happens when Ahsoka and Sabine get here: is they drop out of hyperspace, comms get blocked, and they're on their own. And as they go towards the planet and start to look for this object that's on the other side, they get attacked by a squadron of fighters, and we've got Balin's apprentice and this other character. Is it Marek? And this is the interesting thing here, where we see a lot of people in the rumor threads out there going on about how this is potentially the first time Starkiller has made an appearance, because I guess Sam Witwer showed up in the credits, and I don't watch the credits, so I didn't pay attention to that. I didn't know that, but I saw that being rumored that this is his Starkiller character from those games. But that's a rumor. We don't actually know that, or if he's playing a completely different character uh, that's different. We do know it's some sort of Inquisitor, though, because Ahsoka faced off against that character in the last episode. But we do know that Dave Filoni loves working with Sam Witwer and has been very good to include him in Clone Wars, Rebels, doing the voice of Darth Maul, of course, and all the things that he's done over the years. So he's definitely here in that mask. We just don't know what exactly that character is at this point. Whether it's Starkiller or somebody that's completely new, some sort of warped Inquisitor. But it's all good. But there is a squadron chasing Ahsoka and Sabine. There's a tense space battle, which is great and fun and everything else. And I feel like this was a good one, but I feel like the season 3 of Mandalorian, those firefights were something else. This was good, but not quite up to that standard yet. But they do eventually see the space ring and figure out that it's a giant hyperspace ring that's being built, and they theorize what it is. But of course, they can't send any information back to Hera or anyone else because the comms are blocked. And the ship gets so damaged that they have to land on the planet, and that's where we're leading for towards the next episode, which is going to be the hunt for Ahsoka and Sabine, because Balin knows they're on the planet, his apprentice knows they're on the planet. So you got these two dark Jedi and this ex-Inquisitor chasing them down. It's going to be very interesting to see how that all plays out now that we're on the planet, and to see where Sabine's Mandalorian training plus Ahsoka's Jedi training come into play to help them defeat everything that's coming their way. So whether or not that culminates in the next episode or not remains to be seen, but that's definitely something that's coming up. Apart from that, there's this underlying theme of the senators, not Mon Mothma in particular, but some of the other senators who don't really have a lot of faith in Hera, and they don't believe her about the threat of Thrawn, and they don't believe that Thrawn is a legitimate thing that could be coming back. It's just a rumor and a myth, and they accuse her of only wanting to go after Thrawn because of her personal connection to Ezra and how she wants to get Ezra back. And I think that it's a fair assessment that she has a personal connection, but I don't think that the senators were correct in, you know, obviously realizing that there's something else going on. And I think at this point we're dealing with people who are scared and they don't want to go into another war, and they're trying to do everything in their power to avoid war at all costs, and they don't see this as an actual threat. And since it's not an actual threat, it's just the potential for being something. Um, it being a potential is not enough for them to want to justify sending resources out to research it. So at the end of the day, Sabine and Ahsoka are completely cut off, completely on their own, and they're gonna have to deal with it in the next episode. Something else that cropped up in this one, we saw the space whales again, which was freaking awesome to see them up close and personal. That's a if you've watched the animated shows, this is a nostalgia moment for us fans who have been around for a long time. And also, I don't remember, and maybe it's just been a while because I haven't watched Rebels in a while and I couldn't remember. I don't remember Hera having a son, and her son shows up in this episode. And can someone remind me in the comments? I don't remember that at all. I may need to go look that up if someone doesn't answer me down below, because that's something that I was like, what? Hera's got a kid, and he's on the ship with her, which is really cool. I kind of think that that's an interesting thing, and I don't know so much if it's done here so much as in Star Trek, but it's one of the things I always appreciate about Star Trek is the ships are, you know, the vessels are, you have your day job, which is as an officer in the fleet, but you can also have your family there, which I thought was always a cool thing from Star Trek. And is that the same thing here in Star Wars? I don't really know. But she has a kid, which was new. Anything else I'm missing? I don't think so. This is a very straightforward, short episode, and we're leading up to I guarantee you there's going to be a bunch of big action sequences in the next one with lightsabers and stuff, because we've got Balin's apprentice and that other dude, the Inquisitor, hunting down Ahsoka and Sabine. So there's going to be some good lightsaber stuff in the next one. The only thing that I thought was really ridiculous about this episode was during the space fight when Ahsoka goes out into the void and uses her lightsabers to deflect blaster bolts from the incoming starfighters, um, and jumping around in space. Like, that felt a little Fast and Furious, if that makes sense. But again, overall, 8 out of 10 for the episode. A couple things taken away, like the over-the-topness of that scene, and the training sequence for me was just, it felt like I've seen this a million times before. But other than that, great episode. Can't wait to see where it leads. Love to hear your thoughts. Drop them down below. Like, subscribe to the bell icon, everybody. And until next time, stay safe. May the force be with you.